Yo, what is going on, guys? It is your boy Tayan, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a bracket prediction video for Major 2. The games are set, the bracket is set, everything is set. The games start this Friday. Remember, guys, it's going to be different because it's actually in the UK, so the time zones are going to be different. It starts at 10 a.m. East Coast side, time on Friday, 8 a.m. West Coast. So it's going to be a very, very interesting tournament. Going to be predicting the whole entire bracket. I may have some upsets. I may have some kind of basic picks. This is all just what I think. Obviously, it's land, so teams are going to tend to perform either worse or better because it's land. Some teams play better on land. Some teams play better when there's a lot of high stakes, where there's a lot of pressure. Some teams choke and can't really handle that. So let's get right into the matches. Starting off with Toronto Koi versus Vancouver Surge. I love I love this matchup because I think it can actually listen, the S&Ds, I think Surge actually will take one S&D. I think it will be a 3-1, but again, I just don't really see how Surge wins three. So I'm gonna go Toronto Koi. Yeah. Then we got the Carolina Royal Ravens versus the Paris Gentlemates. I'm gonna go with the Gentlemates. I think they get it done here. If Ravens get a map, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm gonna go with the Gentlemates. I think they'll perform much better on land. Let's go with that. So that means Surge and Carolina will be eliminated. That means they'll go home the exact same day because obviously the playing teams, if you lose the first match, you are out of the tournament. You will have to wait 2 weeks to play online qualifiers again. So yeah, Optic Texas versus Toronto KOI. I got Optic Texas. They look too good. They look unstoppable, quite frankly. Definitely a juggernaut of a team. One kind of weakness that Optic has is the S&D. If they do have a weakness, it is S&D. It's probably their worst game mode. They actually lose a couple of S&Ds, whereas in other game modes they barely lose. So yeah, next up we have G2 Minnesota versus Falcons. I've seen a lot of people take Falcons. I'm gonna go G2 Minnesota. G2 Minnesota are a much better S&D team. And G2 Minnesota, like people forget that this team can be a respawn team. I mean, they were really, really good at respawns in stage one and the beginning of stage two. Like this team has improved drastically in search and destroy, which S&D does win championships. Like if G2 goes on a run, which they very well can because they have the potential to, they can easily just go through a lot of these teams because of their S&D. Now, granted, G2 is very, very inconsistent, but so is Falcons. But I do think G2 will get it done this time around. LAT versus FaZe Vegas. Now, I've been thinking about this matchup for a really, really long time. I've had a lot of different answers, but I really thought about it, and I'm actually going to go with LA Thieves. I think LA Thieves, first of all, I think they're a better respawn team. I think that they will win the hard point and the overload. And honestly, their search and destroys are not very far off. Now, FaZe probably is the better S&D team if you look at just consistency, because just recently, just this last weekend, Thieves have looked really, really good. Obviously, prior to that, they looked awful in search and destroy. And who knows, maybe that was just kind of a 1 weekend thing. Like that's the thing. I need to see a bit more consistency from this LA Thief side in search and destroy, but their respawns have been kind of good this whole stage, and their overload is just really good. I mean, Niam is incredible, one of the best overload players in the league. So, yeah, this team is pretty good at if they play how they did this last weekend, I think they will beat FaZe. I'm actually gonna go 3-2. This is gonna be a really, really close matchup. Let's see the predictions. Hardpoint 50. I like Search and Destroy is barely leaning. Um FaZe, like the overload is leaning FaZe too. I would actually favor LA Thieves in that overload just because of Neum. Like maybe FaZe gets more like goals per game, but Neum is more impactful than I think anybody on FaZe when it comes to just like the spawns, the rotations he makes. He's a really, really intelligent player, very high IQ in that game mode. So yeah, I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with FaZe Vegas. Miami Heretics versus the Paris Gentlemates. Oh my God. Like how do I say this? How do I say this? I think we're gonna see an upset here. I actually think Gentlemates is gonna win this. Now, to me, Gentlemates, if they play how they did, right? If Gentlemates play how they do in Search and Destroy at Major One, they will win this pretty easily. Like Miami Heretic is one of the favorites to make a run, but I genuinely think Gentlemates is a land team. Yes, they haven't looked good online, but they will lock in on land. I think they're just gonna beat. the Heretics, bro. I mean, they've beaten Heretics every single time they've played this season. So I don't know. I just have a really, really weird feeling that Mates is gonna come out guns blazing. They're gonna have the warm hand anyways, playing prior to this in the plane against the Ravens. So I can definitely see this. I'm gonna go with the Paris Mates. Hardpoint is actually leaning to them. I think this matchup will be won through respawns. I think this will go game five. I think Heretics will win at least two maps, but Mates will get it done. Toronto Koi versus the Riyadh Falcons in the lower bracket. Hmm. I can see a world where Toronto wins this because Falcons are really inconsistent, but I'm gonna go Falcons. I think Falcons wins this. Yeah, Falcons wins this really, really close. But Toronto KOI is gonna get eliminated top eight. So back-to-back tournaments where they don't really make it that far. Definitely gonna make changes if that happens. FaZe versus Heretics. Listen, this Heretics has a history of sending FaZe home early, but I don't think that's gonna be the case. I think Miami Heretics has been getting kind of overrated. Yes, they look like one of the better teams, but to be honest, they make a lot of mistakes. They actually lost to the Ravens. And a lot of people don't talk about their inconsistencies, but Heretics, for a really large portion of stage two, would win series, and then they would lose series, then they would lose series, then they would win. Like they had a positive record. I think they were like 7-4 or something, or like, yeah, they were like 7-4, 8-3, something like that, right? But they would still lose to teams that they shouldn't have lost. They are really kill reliant, and I think FaZe can actually just outperform them. I think, listen, this is going to go 5 games just because both teams are really, really close relative in strength when it comes to every single game mode. But I'm going to give the edge to FaZe Vegas. So, yeah, upper bracket, Texas and Minnesota. Optic is going to win that pretty comfortably. But G2, I think G2 can actually bring it that to 4 games. And I wouldn't be shocked if it goes to five. LA Thieves versus the Paris Gentlemen. At this point, I'm going to go with LA Thieves. I think LA Thieves will beat the Gentlemen. Just because, like, Gentlemen can win this, but I think Gentlemen is not going to be final form. I think when they drop the lower bracket, they're going to improve. All the lower bracket teams are going to improve. So I'm going to go with LA Thieves. Gentlemen versus the Ria Falcons. I think there's going to be another game five. Like I think this is going to be a really, really gritty lower bracket. I think a lot of the teams that are going to come out of this lower bracket are going to make it through like the game fives. Kind of like Surge last year at Champs, where pretty much every single matchup in the lower bracket was like 3-2. So it's going to be a really, really close kind of bracket. Let's go with the pairs Gentlemates for that one, 3-2. Then we have G2 Minnesota versus FaZe Vegas. G2 Minnesota is a team that has FaZe Vegas's number quite a lot. Do I think that's going to be the case this time around? No, I do think FaZe will get it done. I mean, we saw this last time around this kind of around this same position, right? They rematched twice on LAN at Major One. First time G2 shit on them. Second time it was close, but FaZe did win, and they actually lost that initial hard point if I remember correctly, and then they came back. So FaZe had the ice in that series, and I think they'll have the ice in this series. I think this is gonna go game five. G2, they're just too inconsistent, man. The thing is, if G2 were more consistent, I would actually have them making potentially a final because I really do rate this team really, really highly. I think they're the definition of a dark horse team. They have a lot of great players. They have one of the best SMG duos in the league, but their ARs sometimes are just not there. The slaying isn't there. They're really up and down. They will beat any team, but also lose to any team. And, who knows what version we could get of G2 Minnesota. We could get this team coming out and swinging, going crazy at this major, or just completely bombing out top 12, top eight. So yeah, let's go. Let's go on with FaZe Vegas 3-2. I think they get it done. It's actually extremely close. Holy shit. So yeah, really, really close. Upper bracket, Optic Texas versus the Los Angeles Thieves. Listen, I think, listen, LA Thieves has been playing really, really good. If LA Thieves can actually play at the pace that they did this past weekend, this is going to be like a bloodbath. It's going to be a carnage game. It's going to be back and forth. Both these teams push really, really fast pace. I actually think on paper, LA Thieves should be pushing more pace, but Optic Texas is the better search team. They're the better hardpoint team, and they're the better overload team. So they're actually better in every single game mode. That being said, I think Thieves can take one or two maps. I wouldn't be surprised. Like I wouldn't be shocked if LA Thieves wins this series, but I do think Optic Texas have quite an advantage here. So yeah, let's go with Optic. Texas. Uh, hard point 50-50. Yeah, if Thieves are gonna win the series, it's gonna be through the hard points, probably not through the Surge or S&D. Um, so yeah. Then we have Gentlemates versus FaZe Vegas. Wow, this is a really tough one. Listen, I'm a Gentlemates fan, right? But I think this is where the road ends. Like I hope they win Major 2 again. But FaZe have just been more consistent. FaZe beat them. FaZe just hasn't been showing the same problems that they used to have. They are improving. Gentlemen's have kind of gotten worse. It's either that or other teams have just really, really improved drastically. But they're always going to game fives. They're always losing, and I do think the series will go to game five. One thing about Gentlemen's is that they're search and destroy. Like a huge part of why they won Major One was due to these insane clutches. That's unsustainable. Like that's really, really rare. That's like those are like chances that never happen again. So they can't have Neptune or Ghosty bailing them out in these insane like clutch moments. They're gonna have to figure that shit out. So yeah. I hope Gentleman's wins. I wouldn't be surprised if Gentleman's makes a run to the final and wins it. Like I think all these top four teams can win. It's just Gentleman's has been so bad compared to the others that they just have the least likelihood to win it. But I do still think that they can win it. And I think funny enough, out of all the teams that have the best chance at beating Optic just because they always play good against Optic and they've beaten Optic many times this season and in the preseason in those online tournaments. So I am going with FaZe Vegas, but gentlemen, I hope you do win this. So yeah, FaZe Vegas. Then we have FaZe Vegas versus the Los Angeles Thieves. Who am I going with this time around? And ladies and gentlemen, a lot of people say, yeah, it's hard to beat the same team two times in a row. But I don't think so. I think we're gonna get an LA Thieves versus Optic Texas final. I think LA Thieves is gonna like just listen. The way I see it, if both teams play at their absolute best, Thieves should win. I mean, they have such incredible players. If Hydra and Abizi are playing S&D how they should, they have an advantage there. The respawns, they push such fast pace. A huge issue for FaZe is that they actually come out and the hard point's super flat. They're actually kind of like G2 Minnesota. They just come out super flat, and a lot of the times it's actually hard to come back because not every single map you're going to be able to come back 50 100 points. But yeah, FaZe is really slow on these like hard points starts sometimes, while LA Thieves just comes out guns blazing. So I do think they're going to have an advantage in that. The search and destroy, FaZe probably has an advantage. Overload, I think Thieves, it'll go to game five. Like all these are gonna go. This is gonna be a really close tournament just because we don't have two shit stained teams in the bracket. So yeah, it's gonna be really close lower bracket final. FaZe will actually have back-to-back lower bracket finals. They'll have back-to-back third place finishes, which I do think makes sense for this FaZe team. I don't think they can make a final quite yet, just because their AR duel is a bit inconsistent. While these teams, I think, has a higher ceiling, and they have just more pace, more like just pop off potential from individual brilliance. So yeah. Then we have the grand finals, Optic Texas versus the Los Angeles Thieves. Again, this can go either way. Um, but obviously if I had to choose one, I'm gonna go Optic Texas. I think Optic Texas wins the grand final. Not 4-0, that's automatic, but I'm gonna say 4-2. I think it'll be a really close final. We will not see a game seven. I don't think Thieves are there quite yet. I don't think like for it to be a game seven. I think Thieves would have to be like literally neck and neck with Optic, which they can do. Like they have the potential to do so, but I'm not gonna go there quite yet. And yeah, that's what I'm predicting. I think Optic are the favorites. They should win this major. If Optic don't win this major, it'll be a huge missed opportunity because they look like by far the best team. They make the least amount of mistakes. They do the most things right. But LA Thieves is scaling. FaZe can also make a final. Heretics can make a final. Falcons can make a final. Minnesota can make a final. Um, Gentlemates can make a final. So yeah, fuck, even KOI can make a run. We never know. It's land, anything is possible. So yeah, let me know down in the comment section below who do you guys have winning Major 2. I got Optic Texas in a 4-2 fashion in the final versus LA Thieves. And yeah, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Turn on post notifications. I'm gonna be doing more COD content on this channel, guys. So stay tuned for that. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Major two starts this Friday again, 10 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Western. So you guys have your calendars and your schedule set for that. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.